So this is a quick video to show you how to crochet a poppy. So I'm just going to go through it, fairly basic steps. First of all, we start with a slip knot. So you make a twist in the yarn, a little loop, and scoop through a loop of yarn, and that makes what we call a slip knot, which you can see slides up and down. I'll do that once more. You make a twist and then pick up the yarn, pull it through, and there you've got a slip knot. So we're going to use, I'm using fairly thick yarn and a thick hook here, and hope that you can see what I'm doing more easily. You may use any type of yarn that you choose. So first of all, we're going to do a chain. So in a way, a chain is a bit like making the slip knot, but we're going to make it with a hook. So we put the yarn around, we hook the yarn and pull it through. That's one chain. Yarn around, pull it through, 2 chains. And then 3, 4, and I made 5 to start with. Then we're going to join this into a circle. To do that, we take the hook and we put it into the very first chain. We put it into the first loop of the first chain. We're going to wrap the yarn around the hook and pull it through, and then pull it through the loop that's already on the hook. So that is a slip stitch, and it simply goes straight through one stitch and then through the stitch on the hook. So what I've got now, this is the tail here, and I've got a chain which is a loop of 5 stitches. Can you see it's got a hole in the middle? So the next job that we do is we make sort of like going up. So we're going outside the center. So we're going to go 1, 2 stitches up, and then we're going to double crochet a whole round. So to double crochet, we're going into the middle of the loop. We're not going to crochet into individual stitches, that's just way too difficult. We're just going to go straight into the middle. We pull the yarn through just as we've done before, and then the yarn goes around again and through those 2 stitches. That's 1 double crochet. I'm going to do a second. Through the middle, pick the yarn up, yarn around again, and through 2 stitches. That's 2 double crochets. In and around and through 2 stitches. That's 3, 4, 5, oops, make sure you don't split the yarn, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I've got 2 more to do. You can see I'm getting quite close to the edge. If you need to, kind of shuffle your stitches around so you've got plenty of room. So that was 9. I'm going to do 10. I'm going to do 11 in total. So that's my 11. Now the very first, the 2 chains that we did, that counts as stitch 1. So so we've now got 12 stitches. So we've got the chain, which is stitch 1, 11 double crochets, so that makes 12 stitches in total, and I'm going to slip stitch to join the round. So I'm going to go into that first, the chain that I did, and I'm just going to go through there and slip stitch. So to slip stitch, we wrap the yarn around, we pull it through the anchoring stitch and then through the stitch on the needle, and that has made now a little circle, which is the start of your poppy. That's the center. So I'm going to cut this off. Oops, give me scissors. So I'm going to just cut off, leave some ties on here. I'll see why later. Cut this off and just pull the stitch through, and that is fine. That is your black center made. Leave these 2 as a nice long tail. These are really useful for tying it onto the railings. Next, we're going to take the red yarn, and we can start anywhere in the circle. You'll be able, can you see the stitches here? You can see almost like a little V. There's a row of V's lying here around the outside of the circle. They're not the most even, but they'll do. And we can start in any way. We go underneath the V. So ideally we have 2 bars, can you see the 2 bars of the V? Sorry, it's black yarn, it's not the best colour, is it, for a video? The black yarn sitting on there. I'm going to pull the red yarn through, and then what I do to just anchor it is I use 2 threads going through to make the first chain, and that just holds the yarn a bit more steady. Now I'm going to use a single yarn, so I do a chain of 2. There's a chain of 2, and that counts as the first double crochet. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do another double crochet in the same hole. So 1, 2, and then we're going to repeat that. So we're going to go into the next stitch, which is here, and we're going to do 1, and into the same hole 2, and we're going to go to the next stitch, which is this one here. Again, each time you're looking for those 2 bars of the stitch to be held. There's 1 and 2. Now I'm just going to repeat that all the way around. So I'm doing 2 stitches into every stitch underneath all the way around. Okay, so I've worked all the way around, 2 stitches into every stitch in the row below. So we had 12 stitches in the row below, so now I've got 24, although I'm not going to bother to count them, but you will see there's quite a lot of them and they're almost jostling for space on this, and that's what we want. We want it to start fanning out. So I've got to the end, and I'm going to make the slip stitch again to join the 2 rounds. So I'm going into the first stitch, pulling it through, and then through again, and that's the slip stitch. Now we've joined the round, so we've got the red ring around the black center. We're going to do the same again, so we go up 2 stitches to come out from the loop, and then we start double crocheting. So first of all we do a double crochet into the same space, and then we move on to the next stitch, and we do 2 double crochets into this stitch. So we're just repeating the round that we had before. Of course, you've got more and more stitches each time you go around. But I'm going to do this all around here, and then I will go for a 3rd round, again going 2 up and double crocheting into every stitch, and then I'll show you this when it's done. So here I've done 3 rounds of double crochet in the red, and you can see it makes for a very frilly edged poppy. In fact, so frilly edged that you might find on the 3rd round that you could even get away with doing 1 double crochet in 1 stitch and then 2 double crochet in the next stitch, and then back to 1 and then 2 all the way around. It depends, it's completely up to you. It's just how frilly you want it to be, and it may depend on the thickness of your yarn what looks best. So make your own choice. 1 or 2 stitches in each stitch as you go, but you end up with a lovely frilly poppy. And on the back here we've got 2 red tails, that's where we started and where we finished, and we've got the 2 black tails. Now, as I said, we're going to leave the black tails where they are because we'll use them to tie our poppies onto the railings. With the red tails, you just need to weave them in. To do that, take a nice big-eyed darning needle and then just take through a few stitches with your needle, sew it through in one direction and then sew it through in the opposite direction coming back. There we go, that'll do fine. And then you can chop that off. That'll be nice and secure. And again, do that with the other tail. So this is the cast off tail. We'll go back through that same sort of area and then back around. You just do that a couple of times. There you go. Trim that off, and that is one poppy all ready to go onto the railings. There you go.